Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Allan S. Cabanlong. I'm an ASEAN engineer. I was a former Assistant Secretary of the Department of Information and Communications Technology. I was handling the cybersecurity and enabling technologies. As regards to my profession, I am an electronics engineer. I'm also an ASEAN engineer. Currently, I'm working as consultant and advisor of my previous office, DICT, and as well as consultant of other multinational companies in the Philippines, as well as abroad. So, being the author of the National Cybersecurity Plan 2022, well, the supply chain is part of the key imperative. It's the protection of businesses and supply chain, the key imperative number 3. So technically, the programs there is to ensure the safety and security of the devices or equipment through standardization. For example, in telecommunications, so the manufacturers should consult or coordinate with the government as to what are the safety measures or cyber safety measures that these manufacturers are doing for cyber security of equipment. So the adoption of common criteria, the adoption of internationally recognized scheme or standards for testing of equipment. Okay, so that is how the supply chain should be assured of its security, so that when those equipment are used in telecommunications or in enterprise, so it is well accepted and vouched by international standards, and that's how it works. So as part of the programs, the government should implement the equipment security testing platform, as well as coordination with other countries as regards to specific criteria in inspection of equipment in telecommunications, in ICT, for that matter. Yes, with regard to the National Cybersecurity Plan, in specific key imperative number 1 and number 2, the protection of critical information infrastructure and the protection of government networks, both military and public. So there has been a proposal to conduct the national drills. No? This is to exercise threats. I mean, to exercise the government as well as each partner cert how they adopt or how they respond to cyber threats or cyber attacks. And it really helped the government as well as its partners to simulate the attack into the real world. So meaning if during the exercise there will be a simulated attack coming from different sources, and the National Cyber Drill exercise will respond to the attack, not just technically, but of course after the attack there will be lessons learned, there will be a creation of policies, so that in the next wave of attacks it can be prevented. So that's how the National Cyber Drill exercise can really help the government, the country, okay, in preventing cyber threats as well as cyber attacks to critical information infrastructure. And that should be sustained. As the author of the national plan, when I was with the department, we have implemented these drill exercises with other countries as well, like for example Japan and other allied countries. So in the ASEAN region, yes, with Thailand, with Singapore, it's constantly being conducted. The COVID-19 pandemic really pushed cybersecurity to its limits. Why? Because we are all online. Just like we are doing now, you are conducting an interview online. So all the users of the infrastructure for telecommunications are now using internet, are now using applications, are now using mobile applications, web applications that are not 100% tested because of the fast implementation of other applications. But of course, phishing in the banks also rose to a level in which most of the users are being victimized. So the top causes of these adversities are the time that we devote online. The hackers saw this opportunity to play on cyberspace. So I believe the applications that we are using right now, that just like we are using now, I believe there are cybersecurity measures. But sometimes in the way hackers think, the way attackers think, the criminal thinks, is they always bypass these measures. So that's why cybersecurity is always cat and mouse play. The more you develop online applications, the more hackers or attackers will appear. So that's why we need to protect, strengthen our cyber security posture every day, every second of the day. My expectations from the 600 plus cyber security experts at PhilSec 2022 this coming July is of course the exchange of information, especially in cyber threats, especially in risk. What are the current risks? What are the future risks? How can this expert develop information sharing platform for PhilSec to be able to provide each of our departments in the government countermeasures, because these experts that will attend the PhilSec 2022 have their own expertise in cybersecurity. Some are policy, some are technical, some are vulnerability assessment, some are in the management of cybersecurity. When you combine these together, it will create a holistic approach in cybersecurity. That is why conferences like PhilSec is very important platform for sharing of information so that cybersecurity threats can be prevented. Cybersecurity threats can be eliminated with the whole of society approach, both global and local. And after the conference, I expect that the PhilSec 2022 can provide us takeaways, key takeaways from the experts, so that these key takeaways can be used by the government by the private sectors, by the defense, by the citizens for a secure, cyber safe, and cyber resilient Philippines. Thank you for inviting me last year to speak at PhilSec 2021. And these conferences, the conferences like this is very important. It's very crucial, no? Especially if the participants are diverse, coming from the diverse field like manufacturers, solution providers, governments, private sectors like the banks, like the critical infrastructure, energy, water. If the participants are coming from this diverse audience, well, they have their own expertise where the attendees from government can now learn what are the latest technology solutions specific on cybersecurity that they might procure or they can procure and include in their budget. This kind of conference can speed up the information sharing, not just on cyber threats, but on the current technological innovation, the current solutions that this organization, the government, can use. And I believe with that, there will be a big chance for government, private sectors to engage with security solutions providers and eventually develop a partnership, not just to procure systems, but partnership, a long-term partnership to eliminate cyber threats.